What's up, streamers? We're back again. Me, the lovely lady, and you all. So, this time around, we're going to talk about Berkeley and free speech, where it would almost sound fitting considering their history. And if you don't know about their history, they are actually known as the birthplace of the free speech movement. It came from the 60s and 70s, but they've had protests against things since the 1930s. So they're a very organized community there in Berkeley, California, and they're very heavily political. So here we are again. I did a quick show about the violence in Berkeley that transpired last week at an actual, I think I called it a Trump rally, but it was actually a freedom of speech rally that just happened to have pro-Trumpers and then other libertarians and other things. And we got news coming out of there again this week. So I'll just give you some of the news. Ann Coulter is supposed to, I don't want to say perform, but give a speech there. Right, and if you don't know who Ann Coulter is, she's a author, a writer, syndicated columnist. I can never get. I almost called her a communist, but that ain't it. No. She's a conservative. She's a lawyer. She's a New York Times bestseller 7 times, and you can also find her on Fox News a lot. So she's supposed to be giving a speech. And she was invited by a Republican group of students to come speak there. And as of Wednesday, it was called off. They said that they had information that they could no longer keep her, the people attending, and any other civilians around the way safe. Because they had tip-offs of protests and things of that nature. And Ann Coulter, she's kind of feisty. If you have never seen her, she's a feisty one. Actually went on to the Tucker Carlson show and said that pretty much called their bluff. Said she's going to speak there anyways. What's the worst they can do? Lock her up? Right? Yeah, and she didn't care, you know. And she actually has been on record. She wrote to the Washington Post stating that it was actually like pulling teeth to try to get her speech passed or allowed in the first place. And there's something about there was a lot of ridiculous restrictions or obligations that she needed to meet just for her to be there, like the time of the day and who could go. And
yeah, they wanted her to be later at night or something after hours. And
no, actually, so from the stuff I researched, I couldn't tell if it was, and I'll get into this more, new restrictions or whatever that she needed to comply with, or the first. But she said it was very hard. Like they almost like wanted to I don't want to say suppress her speech, but kind of like she wasn't really welcome there in the first place.
Right.
They didn't really want her there, so they made a lot of things thinking that she would just like, it's not worth it. But she's kind of stubborn and just agreed to it all. So like I said, as of Wednesday, they announced that they were canceling it. Right. That they no longer were going to hold the event, and there was a bit of a backlash, right, from the right side. And as of Thursday, they decided, well, now we can hold the event, but it's been changed to a different venue, where they say that they feel like they can harbor everybody there, safe and out of the realm of like being able to violently be involved in protests, which is great. We want the free speech to go on, at first everybody thought it was really an attack on free speech, them trying to cancel it, because last time conservatives showed up there, the Milo, that was it all hell broke loose. If you thought last week was bad, we actually
in March, the beginning of March, with Milo's, I think it's the last leg of his
dangerous faggot tour.
Yeah, they burnt it to the ground, but so I hadn't seen that the Republican. It's not like Republicans like you think of as like a political party of old men. Like, we're talking about kids, right?
This is a student group.
It's the student organization. Like, you have the Democratic one, you have the Socialist one, you have a Communist one, you have Republican, right? Like, it's a student organization that gets the money together and they fundraise and like you think of like
And a lot of times there's a lot of hidden fees in there that they make the group come up with.
Correct. So I just want to be fair that this is just a student organization that are the Berkeley Republicans, right? Like, that's their kind of title.
Yeah.
Right. But
this isn't your Trump or Paul Ryan Republicans.
Right.
No,
And
these are the you and me. They just happen to be at this university.
Right.
And so they're trying to put on this event. Well, they've come back though with more restrictions.
Right.
So now it must be in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Only students can attend. And the actual venue will be announced at the last minute. But it's being moved from, it originally was supposed to take place April 27th to May 2nd.
Okay.
Right?
That's in the middle of the week.
Middle of the day, middle of the week. Only students can attend.
Would they be at class?
They're saying it's for the safety.
But wouldn't students be in class? That's like a Wednesday or a Tuesday or something. Like in the middle of the day on a Tuesday or something. Wait, what's the date? The 6th, 7th is the weekend, so count backwards, right? Like
Monday, Tuesday? Yeah.
Like I'm saying, right? Like, so they should be in class doing finals.
Yeah, so Ann Coulter still agreed to the demands. However, the Republican group from the university is contemplating rejecting it and pushing for the original settled deal. Right. Like, hey, this is what we agreed on.
They have to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, they have to fundraise, like I was trying to say earlier, that they have to fundraise and stuff to get up the money to pay for that kind of stuff, to get people to come, right? Like, I'm sure that big speakers and stuff to go to colleges, and maybe they'll cut you a deal or something, but they do have to pay to use the room, the conference rooms or the auditorium or whatever. They have to pay for that stuff.
Well, the biggest thing I remember looking into the Milo tour, it wasn't so much he was charging a fee. It was that the university was charging a fee.
Correct. And then they charged for extra security. And what made them so angry...
Well, there was like a lot of hidden taxes, and they would hit them right there like the week of.
Well, a lot of it was that the security wouldn't come in and do anything about it when they got interrupted or it got too rowdy. Some of the schools did a really, really good job because they make the students pay for extra security. And we're talking like thousands of dollars. Like $2,000, right? So, a bunch of college kids struggling. I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
That everybody complains about.
So, one of my things is, I'm glad the event is at least going to happen.
Right.
It's a shame that it was going to be canceled in the first place over the fear of protests because of what protests happened in the past. This is the same group that invited Milo and other speakers, and that the protests have been about. So when it's like they've okayed now this ANTIFA group.
Right. They've okayed fear. Like, they're more afraid of this than, like, the laws. Right?
So, like, almost afraid of until the decision to reverse it, which still seems... There's a lot of questions in this reversal. It almost like, I don't know if it will get reversed because in this other venue, is it more expensive? Can the children, or I guess they're adults, young adults, come up with that type of money? Can they pay for the extra security? Will Ann Coulter or somebody else pitch in to help out? Potentially, but potentially it's a wash.
Right.
Depending on what happens.
Right. Well, it just seems like a lot of
but at the end of the day, you're letting this group from that has obviously opposing thought processes dictate the freedom of speech.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Then maybe this is why I'm behind the board and I don't get to run a college, because I would flat out say that if any protesters get unruly at all, like I'm that type of person, that I'd be like, everyone's getting arrested, like everyone's getting expelled. If there's any violence whatsoever, everyone that we can catch is getting expelled. Like I will round you all up and throw you all out, right? Like I have zero tolerance for violence. Zip. Zero. I don't tolerate it, in my home. I'm just not tolerating it. And so it's like, you want to stand, you want to protest, you want to stand, that's fine, right? Because that's your freedom of speech. But as soon as it gets violent, that's a riot, and therefore you are breaking laws. And no, this would not continue.
The piece that got me the most is the reason they were going to cancel in the first place was, quote unquote, the police had specific intelligence regarding threats that pose danger to the speaker and attendees.
Why didn't they bring them in for questioning and say, excuse me?
If you have knowledge of like, okay, you can see the posts and the blogs or whatever, where's the preemptive strike? Like, look, put it out there, like, we will not tolerate this. The next time you people show up in your mask and throwing M80s and hitting people with sticks, the whole lot of you get arrested. And we'll sort you out later.
Oh, yeah. It's going on your permanent record, How
many trash cans have got to be destroyed?
I don't get it with the trash cans, man. What is it with the trash cans? Why do they hate the trash cans?
Reminds them of home.
Is it what it is?
I guess so.
I mean, I would imagine a bunch of...
Well, they're a bunch of Oscar the Grouches. Maybe they're just trying to take it back home.
I figure they're just a bunch of, upper middle class, trust fund babies that don't have anything better to do than to be destructive and asinine, to be honest. I mean, look, you can disagree with people a lot, right? And
I disagree with people all the time.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I hope people disagree with me.
Each other a lot, not in a violent way or in a I'm gonna have a yelling argument with you way, but I'm gonna state my opinion. You're gonna state yours, and then we're gonna go. All right, well now we have a dilemma. So where do we go from here, right?
What's the best course of action? How can we meet in the middle?
What do we have in common to go forward, right? I don't even say meet in the middle because people get tired of compromising, right?
Well, no, yeah. When it comes to the left and the right and the opposing ideas, I tell everybody about my thought process of marriage, right? Or any relationship. It boils down to the 3 C's. Consideration, compromising, and communication. Right? And I think that boils down to this as well.
Well, I mean,
if you have these
commitment in there of I'm committed to hearing your ideas. I'm committed to trying to find new avenues to solve problems.
I don't know, 4 C's might be too much.
4 C's?
4 C's.
Way too
many. Way too many C's. We'll get tongue tied.
Okay. Wow, that's later. But anyways, but even a bad idea should be voiced. People shouldn't be afraid to even throw out a crappy idea because everybody around them would be like, that's a terrible idea. And you'd be like, okay, back to the drawing board, right? That's why free speech is good, right? Because it gets those things out there. Otherwise, they hide in the shadows. Bad ideas hide in the shadows and they gain momentum. You see what I'm saying?
I was going to say the same thing. These same type of people are the same ones punching the Richard Spicer, whatever his damn name is. Spencer, the total alt-right, damn near Nazi KKK guy.
I don't think he's that far, but I mean,
but he's more of he's a white
nationalist.
Yeah.
Right.
And some of his ideas aren't the most ludicrous, but the at the end of the day, he does come off as a racist. He comes off that way. Whether or not he is, I don't know the man. But I always tell people, I'm like, let the Nazis talk. Let the KKK talk. Let the Black Lives Matter talk. Let any people talk, because typically the bad ideas will get flushed down the drain. People go, what's he saying? Oh, that motherfucker's crazy. And then walk away. But let him talk. Give him the corner with the, he'll be the old guy on the street corner saying, the end is coming, the sky is falling.
The end is nigh, right?
Yeah. And everybody walks by with their latte. Like, fuck this dude.
Yeah, I agree.
But as soon as you punch him and you suppress his speech,
then he becomes
then people want to listen.
Then he becomes important.
Yeah.
Then it becomes, well, what's he saying that got him this treatment, right?
Well, there must be some truth to it if it pissed people off that much.
Right. And,
I mean, at least that's how I look at things.
No, I agree with you. I agree. We were talking about this on the last video, but people dig in their heels, and even if they totally don't morally agree, they're gonna defend it because, right, like now they feel forced to, right? Like, I feel forced to dig in my heels to stand my ground because you're challenging me, rather than let's challenge each other's thoughts in a peaceful way, in a mindful way, in ways that we can get things accomplished.
I am a Trump supporter. I was a Trump supporter. That's who I voted for. There's things about him that I don't like. Things about him I do like. There's things about other people I like and dislike. But even if I was like totally anti-Trump,
right,
anti-right, and I was a liberal.
I mean, you did vote for Obama twice. Once?
Once.
Okay.
Correct the record there.
Sorry.
Once.
Yeah, once.
Anyways, even if I was anti-Trump, I still would think that what is going on there is totally wrong.
I agree. And I hope a lot of people agree with you. Everybody except for the people in Antifa, I would hope would agree with that. And
I also look at them as fucking cowards. Pardon my language, guys. But they're cowards.
Well, yeah, what it is, it's kind of like the zebra, right? The prey, right? So we're all going to group together, and we're all going to wear the same outfit, and that way you can't distinguish us apart. Like, that's what zebras do because they're prey, right? So to be and appear stronger, they're going to put on some matching outfits and be called the black bloc and stay in formation so you can't be singled out, which is exactly what zebra do, which are prey, they are weak. You know what I'm saying?
Where's one of them Islamic terrorists with the truck at that point?
I don't know.
Like, take the whole lot of them out.
I think if I were in ISIS, okay.
Why are they building walls anyways? I thought they were against them.
They are against walls, right? Except for their walls, right? Because they all probably live in multi-million-dollar homes with their mommy and daddy in gated communities behind fences.
Well, they probably know a guy that knows a guy that's probably had a shitty life, so
you know what?
They're going to stick up for him.
As a former poor person, poorer than you ever were, like, stop helping. Stop helping poor people. Stop it. You're making life
It sounds
horrific.
bad. It sounds bad.
They don't understand. No, because you sit somewhere and go, you know what I can do? I'm gonna vote for higher taxes so poor people will get more money. We never see it. We just go more hungry, and all the prices of everything go up. Stop helping. You're not helping at all whatsoever. Just stop helping. It's not good. You know what? Go to a poor person's house and cook them dinner. Teach them how to cook their own dinner.
I don't want that masked fucker in my house.
No.
Have Morty Locks come up in my house.
I said go to their house, right? Like, that would be helpful. Community is helpful. Individuals are helpful.
I think that's a different conversation.
Anyways, but I'm saying, right? Like,
calm down there,
I just feel like you got a bunch of college kids. Like, I didn't get the opportunity to go to college. Why? Because I'm poor. And so you got a bunch of college kids that are all like, I'm going to save the world by punching Nazis. Like, they're your fellow students.
Well, the funniest thing about me...
That's crazy.
To me is that the whole fascist claim. And it's like, okay, they can't be considered fascist yet because they don't have authority yet. But if they're willing to use violence to get what they want now, they would use it once they had what they wanted.
Yeah, they would.
They would continue to use the force.
Right, like, they've had many people. They had a guy on, what was it, MSNBC, say that ISIS should bomb, like, Trump Towers. They said that they should, like Will Smith went on a tour about his whatever movie or whatever and said, like Trump supporters should be they should be gotten rid of first. Like, what the hell is that? We're your neighbors. We live here.
Will Smith said that?
Yeah, he did. And I was like, really? Like, that's why it upsets me when I was talking about a couple videos ago, talking about the Carlton episode, right? Where he wasn't black enough to hang out, right? And he's like, why? Because I'm rich? Because my parents made good choices? And he slams him on that. And I'm like, way to go, good writers back in the 90s. That's the way we grew up. I'm going to judge you as an individual. I don't care. I don't care where you live or what you do. What kind of a person are you? Like, that's the way we were raised.
Well, I just don't understand, like...
And now it's like, if you think like this, we're going to beat you up.
The Antifa movement actually says, you can hear someone, they say they're a communist or they're socialist. And it's like, who really wants that?
Did you know, fun fact...
I mean, go ahead and talk about it, freedom of speech.
Right, yeah. Right?
Don't punch me in the face
I love it that,
like capitalism.
All the Bernie bros and stuff are all like, oh, he's a democratic socialist. And I'm like, that's a Nazi. That means National Socialist, right? For the little man and socialism. That's a Nazi. That's the definition of that. There's no democratic...
No. Trump
about
is
that.
the definition.
Oh, I forgot. White male, right? Like, so
and he's rich.
Did you know that on average, and this is sickening, because an average, takes a high and a low, right? You understand, right? Viewers out there not good at math. An average is your high number and added with the low number to get a middle ground. The middle number, which is your average, that Venezuelans, our great socialist neighbors down below, lost an average of 19 pounds over the last year. The average Venezuelan lost 19 pounds. Do you know,
okay, speaking of Venezuela.
They're starving to death. It's disgusting.
Speaking of Venezuela, I was reading something either today or yesterday that they're trying to do an anti-government protest, right? And they're trying to
get shot?
Damn near overthrow the government. That's what they're... So many of them are so hungry and weak, they can't protest. Like a mass number of them.
They had children, little kids, passing out in class because they can't function. They're so hungry. They can't even hold it together through learning how to spell or math.
I was passing out in class too, but it's for other reasons. Not
from hunger. I'm talking about from hunger and malnutrition. Did you know that they're that will deform your body forever?
Mm-hmm.
That leaves internal scars forever. That damages your liver. You're just shortening their lifespan. This socialism nonsense, and they just took over the GM plant.
Yeah.
They just took it under government control. They got sharecroppers and stuff. I mean, it's sick. It's sick. I feel bad for them. If you were I want to let a bunch of freedom-loving Venezuelans in, I'd be like, let's go. I bet they're hungry. You know what I mean? And they want to work. And they want to be better than that nonsense.
Well, they can work. They can do everything. They just can't even feed themselves. They have money.
They can't work and
they're getting their money, but they can't the lines.
But their money's not worth anything. It's like going back you think about back in the day when they had the political cartoons where you had to take a barrel of money to buy a loaf of bread. You remember back in Russia?
It's very similar.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah.
It's now turn in all your little bills.
And if I'm not mistaken, Venezuela was a rich country.
They're full of oil.
Yeah, they have a lot of exports.
Oil. Right, but people can't even function the oil fields right now. They're shut down. It's ridiculous. They're not even making any money. It's a mess.
Okay,
and I feel so bad.
We went off topic anyways from free speech.
Well, you start bringing the socialists in, and I just got to speak out on it, because there's just so many problems with that view, right?
If there's any socialists out there, I would love to have you on my show and talk to you and figure out what the hell you're thinking in a calmly manner. Don't hit me with a brick.
And don't give me that. Well, true socialism never worked before. Well, you know what? True capitalism's never worked. has never been tried before either. I'll give you that argument. Because it's been crony capitalism up since the last...
But it's still better than socialism.
Hell yeah, it is. So anyways, regardless. So they want to shut down free speech, which is boo and bad, and I don't understand that. I mean, let them talk. Why you gotta bother people? Why? We just don't want to hear. We don't want to hear. Like, you can't own the whole street or the whole block. You can't own the college. You know what you should do? You should be a capitalist and open your own school full of nothing but socialists and teach whatever you want and leave everybody else the hell alone.
Well, that's all the universities are ready now.
Again, it violates the non-aggression principle. You can't have a righteous morality to like, we're doing good things. You're just as bad as the religious right against the gays. When you turn around and have that, I'm so righteous in my morals that I'm going to shut down this hate speech. That's exactly what the religious right did to the gays. They're equally wrong. Equally wrong.
I would agree.
So you're no better than the thing that you hate the most. Fuck you guys. You guys are douchebags. That's what it boils down to. You're a douchebag.
You hear that, Antifa?
You're a douchebag. Seriously. I mean, come on. You can go...
See, me personally, like, you speak with words probably better than I do, but I watch these videos of them, and it's like, I don't condone a lot of violence, but I would love to whoop the shit out of them. Like, when I seen the last Berkeley
like
thing...
Gavin McInnes?
Yeah.
He's ready.
Shout out to Gavin. When I seen the last Berkeley thing, and I seen the Trump supporters fighting back. Now, I know I'll have a ton of people saying, well, you know, Trump supporters are already violent. You know, there's...
Yeah, that was all debunked, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Continue on.
I was like, hell yeah. Finally. Now, I'm sure there were some Trump supporters that went past the line, but they weren't throwing M80s. They weren't hitting people with sticks.
They came to a function.
Yeah.
Right? And then you got all these people showing up and throwing stuff in the crowd, and then you go, I can't believe they reacted. Oh my goodness, look at these violent Trump supporters.
Well, I always go back to having the good time. So whether I'm going to a movie, I'm going out to a restaurant, having a pick out a pool party, whatever the case may be. People start ruining my good time.
I'm gonna
get upset. And then once you show violence...
I spent my time, my money, or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
but once you show violence, I'm going to react that same way. You know, it's kind of... You showed me how you want to be treated. It's the golden rule. You start throwing things at me, I'm throwing things back.
The rule is that you treat people
I will use my words.
Treated. You treat people how you want to be treated, and then you treat people how they treat you.
Yeah.
If I'm like, hey, how's it going? That's a really nice black outfit you have. I'm not digging the face mask because that is a little off-putting. And making friends, right? Making friends, a little off-putting. And they go, you're a racist because your lack of melanin. Well, that's just rude. And I'm going to be like, you're rude. And then they're going to like throw things at me. I'm going
Every
to
time I've been called a racist,
retaliate.
I've wanted to punch the person in the face. So don't call me a racist. No, seriously. Every time I've been called a racist, I've wanted to punch the person in the face.
Do you know what I've noticed a lot of the Antifa people? A lot of them are white college kids, and then I'm like, and you talk to
a lot of them are whiny
stuff about like white privilege, and I'm like, you're the epitome of white privilege. You got to go to college. You get to run amok. Your teachers are letting you out of exams to go protest things. You are white privilege. You are everything you hate, and you don't even realize it. You don't realize that people down here struggling in the
maybe
bottom,
they do realize it.
I don't know. I think they've all been brainwashed. They're fucking loons.
Maybe they're the ones with the white privilege, and that's why they connect with that theory.
Like, so what? They feel guilty, so they're going to beat up poor people who just want lower taxes and less government?
Well, they don't know how to express themselves.
Screw your free speech because you want the government to stop taking crap from you. But this is the birthplace of where all that started, where everybody was like love and anti-war and anti-government, and now we've all turned to no, we want lots of government.
Well, that's what I was gonna. The other thing I was gonna say is like, so the liberal side, like everybody was against the government, right?
You think back in the 60s, like hippies and flowers, and no war, and Vietnam protests, which was wrong.
And I would like to think that for the most part, people are still against war. Nobody wants
Except for
war.
unless it's in the streets and you're a Republican, because then obviously it's okay to hurt people.
Yeah.
One chick on video with Tim Pool that we linked to.
We talked about the revolution isn't easy.
And he was just like, yeah, it's not easy. Some people are going to get hurt. Some people are going to die. Like, she was totally okay with that.
And then
that's sick.
Just to put that in context, first off, Tim Pool is an investigator. He periscopes and
he's not even particularly political.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But he videos the news per se. He puts himself in the action.
Yeah.
And there was M80s coming from the ANTIFA group, and there was an old lady who like fell and one like landed by her, and she almost didn't get out of the way in time. And the M80s like almost it's pretty much a small stick of dynamite. So he asked her, he's like, how do you feel about that? This old lady, she was just there for freedom of speech. And she was like, oh, well,
I got hit the other day.
Well, first she said, it's the revolution. So, there's going to be casualties. And I got hit too. And it's like, well, you're throwing M80s. Your group's throwing M80s. You throw an M80 at me, I'm fucking you up. Point blank. But I'm not throwing sticks of dynamite
at old
ladies. And if I did, like, thinking I was, like, say there was an ISIS group over there and I missed through. I'm not, Peyton Manning, and I missed through and threw it by some old person, I would feel really bad.
Oh, yeah. You should.
I'd be like, collateral damage, but no. I'd be like, damn, that sucks.
No,
that's not what that was meant for.
Sure, there was nobody in my way before I threw this, right?
I'm not even gonna say that, but I would at least have some.
No, I'm saying like, they were throwing him into the crowd, and it's both Antifa and the other. Like it was, they didn't like totally like. Oh, so what? We might take out of our own.
Well, at first they were throwing him just into the rallies crowd.
It was, and you're like, why? So look, all it did was bring the news. It bring a ton of attention to this movement. If you hate it so much, stop showing up. Stop making it a big deal. If it's a bad idea, nobody will come. But now you've got people interested in showing up.
Well, yeah, part of me is like, if I can have that shit here, I'll show up. Just for support. And if people get unruly, my knuckles might get a little bloody.
Well, I have to make a phone call, make you a Proud Boy. You got a good tattoo, though.
I already got one.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
No, but seriously, like, the one that just transpired, I think more people showed up because they knew Antifa was showing up.
Well, I think
so you had
what's going on, right?
You have your reporters that want to see what's going on, but you have the other people like, I'm sick of that shit. And I didn't show up to the last one, and I wish I was there because I would have not let them hurt the people that either I have something in common with or I just feel like protecting.
I saw on Reddit, on the Donald, shout out guys, I love you. You guys are so funny. So they were having a discussion, probably somewhere else, so it shows up on the Donald newsfeed of a picture, right? Mm-hmm. Like a snap or whatever they're called. And that there's liberals and more left-leaning people, right? That are like, no, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous and gross. Because the violence upsets people. The violence turns people.
It should.
And absolutely it should. Which makes me excited that, that humanity is still on that good fight of like, no, we should be protecting children. We should be protecting old people and walking the old lady across the street and, carrying her groceries and little kids crying, find out what's wrong. Like, people are still good. That makes me give hope. That they're turning away from that, even though they don't agree with, say, Donald Trump or the right or whatever you want to call it. Whatever. But they're turning away from that in droves because the violence sickens them. And I'm like, good. Then we're all going to be in here together where it's like, I'm not totally for all this, but I'm definitely not with that either.
Well, what I've said, the far left is pushing people to the center. And even a little bit of the far right is pushing more people to the center. And I think for the most part, the center has already had a heavy saturated field. Like, there's been the majority is in the center to begin with. But we're recognizing that now. And like, no, we don't fuck with that. You know what I mean?
Right. Like I was saying, like, you got this over here that's acting exactly like this over here. And I'm like, I don't agree with either of you. And that's disgusting, and stop it. Stop it. You can have that in your church. You can have that in your basement. We're not having that on the streets. We're not going to have that. That's ridiculous. That's just out of control. That is beyond what the government should even be involved in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no, the government shouldn't be involved in people's... You know what? They shouldn't even have marriage licenses like that. Like, the government shouldn't even be involved in marriage. That's stupid. That's just ridiculous. But anyways. So, but shutting down free speech, even if it's speech that you disagree with, just makes it stronger.
Yeah.
You're helping the cause, right? It's like we were talking about with, like, ISIS is going to claim anything that happens because it's going to help their cause, regardless if that person was actually for ISIS or a part of, right?
Anyways, when it comes to the free speech and this whole Berkeley crap, at the end of the day, we started off talking about Ann Coulter. So I'm happy that she's able to hopefully put on her speech. And I'd be happy if it was Bernie Sanders. You know, or anybody else from any other viewpoint. I really don't understand. I guess it's the ANTIFA group and their motives. It's self-centered.
It's childish. Children do that. Children, because they don't have the ability to process their emotions, right? They don't have concrete thought and a bunch of other things until they're like 8. Children hit, they bite, they kick, right? You think little kids, right? Preschool, kindergartners, right? They're learning how to share. They're learning how to listen to others. And it's hard. It's really hard, right? Because they don't have the words yet to express themselves. This group acts like a bunch of overprivileged children. I don't like what you have to say, so I'm going to hit you. I'm going to throw things at you.
Well, they wrap themselves up in this cloak of righteousness.
Well, like I said, and I just don't agree. There's so many better ways to argue a point. Have a counter protest across town, right? Then you can say, look at how many people showed up. There's more people that agree with me than agree with you. Whatever, right? Like, you could do that. And then you'd have logic and reasoning and actual numbers to go, more people agree with me than you, therefore my idea is better. Right? Like, you could try to do things in an orderly adult fashion.
So let me ask you this. So when it comes to free speech, so I was reading something else. It has nothing to do with Ann Coulter or Berkeley. But you're familiar with Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks.
Very.
Whose website publishes leaks of all sorts.
He doesn't hack.
No, he doesn't do the hacking.
He gets it, verifies it, and then produces
puts it out.
Yeah, like a journalist.
Yeah. Well, the U.S. is now going after him. Well, They were already trying to find ways, but they ran into the First Amendment, freedom of speech clauses. Right. Now they're saying that they think they found a way to do that. The only problem is Ecuador had its election. The leftist guy there won and said, well, we're going to keep him in-house. The guy that was going to hand him over, I guess, was more right-leaning, didn't win. So he's safe for now,
Right.
technically. What's your thoughts on like him being able to have free speech? Is that free speech as like a journalist?
Here's the thing. Yes, it is. He's protected under that.
Because the Washington Post, New York Times.
The problem is he's not American. Okay, that's the problem.
That's what I
So,
believe it was Jeff Sessions or Mike
Pompeo.
Pompeo.
Right. Here's the issue. Okay, he's a foreign national. You are not protected under the Constitution, just like immigrants, just like all the rest of it. You are not protected because you are not a national entity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that I don't know, leakers, or I don't want to call them leakers like we've had through since the election and all this.
Chelsea Manning.
If
Edward Snowden.
Now, I would support them. 100%. I support Julian Assange, right? Now, if you look into the stories of Manning and Chelsea Manning and I wish I could remember his other name, so you could look it up further back, right? And Edward Snowden, they tried to do something good before they made this choice, okay? Right? And they were silenced, right? So they said, fine, I'm going to go bigger. And the world is better for it, okay? Now, I understand why I understand why people get very testy about this. Like, you have Trump and Sessions and Pompeo and all these things. It's because you don't want internal leaking that will hurt your, agents, okay? That is the number one thing. You don't want to blow their cover. You will get people killed.
Assange has went and said that he redacted certain information.
He did. He I think it was actually on Netflix. You can watch it. You can find his whole, I'm sure you can find it somewhere on the internet. You can find the whole movie they did about him with him in it, right? It was like a documentary. I won't say a movie. A documentary. With he's actually there talking about it. And he did redact things because he was very careful to release the information with no names.
Yeah, he doesn't want people to get hurt.
He doesn't want anybody to die.
Yeah.
Because of, what he does. But governments claim to be transparent.
Except for maybe John Podesta or Clinton.
Well, what did he put out there that was going to get them killed?
Oh, he put some shit out there.
But what did he put out there that was going to get them killed? By, because they were an undercover agent in
nothing like that.
Right. They're not dealing with drug cartels and we're barfing out all this stuff, right? That's my point. He's very careful to take into consideration because the information he was given, I can't remember if it was by Manning. I believe it was by Manning, not Snowden. Because Snowden did it through other avenues. But by Manning, he was very careful in how he released it because he knew there's undercover agents that are going to get hurt. Now, you could argue the point of why do we have undercover agents in everybody else's business? You know that the United States is spying on everyone. Israel is the number one spy master of everyone. They spy on everybody. You know Russia's spying. We're all spying on each other. Everybody knows this. It's like, hey, comrade, everybody knows this. We're all being spied on by our government and everybody else.
Even the Patriots do it.
Right, it's what it is. So, I agree with Julian on the fact that this needs to stop. This is ridiculous, right?
The leaking or?
No, that you're hiding things. Important things. Because that's what he leaks. If it's non-inconsequential, he might, but he really doesn't delve into kind of nonsense stuff. Right? Celebrity, blah. He doesn't do that. Like Inquirer type of leaks. Right? He doesn't do that. He deals with government stuff. Okay? And what he will leak is things that the people of that country should know about their government. That the government is hiding from them. Now, especially here in America, where it's supposed to be we the people. We are the government. They are the elected people to speak on our behalf. We are in control. We are supposed to be the end all, say all, do all, right? Because we have the elections and all these things, okay? Now, if the government is hiding stuff, and I'm not talking about secret agent names, I get it. There's certain things, should not be public. I agree with that. But
yeah, don't let them know when you're going to bomb. I get that.
Yeah, and I get that. I get Trump being like, let the military do the military thing. No, I don't want to broadcast it because I know you're coming. That's logical. That makes sense to me. I don't want you actually bombing anybody, but...
If you need to...
Right, if you're going in...
The element of surprise is good.
To, like, bust somebody out of jail. No, you don't want everybody in the world to know, hey, we're showing up at 11 to bust them out of jail. No, that stinks, right? So I get that a bit of secrecy is important, right?
Yeah.
But the level of some of the stuff that Assange has been able to get a hold of and verify and leak has been important. It's stuff that we should know. The stuff that Snowden did, it's important. It's that it was all a lie. It's all propaganda. That's important. We've been lied to. Our government that we control, that we're supposed to control.
But we don't control. We don't control it anymore.
But that's the way it's set up. So you should
our government has ran. Well, it's not so much our government.
It's the other ones.
It's the agencies within inside of our government.
The alphabet soup.
Yes, that go rogue. The CIA, the FBI.
The deep state, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
they got their hands on way too much material.
I agree, and you wonder why we can't get along with anybody. You wonder why we're talking about, World War III and all this stuff, and it's like because
that's one of the next topics. Don't worry.
Just leave everybody the hell alone. Like, why can't you just go to the table like a grown up and be like, hey, seems like there's some issues here. Let's hammer this out. That's what adults do. I do. I feel like the whole world is just full of children that just don't know how to act. They're just going to throw a fit all over the place, right? Like in North Korea, big, gigantic, fat baby. I want all the cookies. And you're like, dude, why are you making people miserable? Why are you going to be so aggressive over there? If you just chill out, we just ignore you. Unfortunately, this is true. If he was quiet and was non-aggressive, we would let him starve his entire population and never say a word, right? You know why? There's no oil over there. There's no interest over there. We only care about what's going on in the Middle East, right? For our own interests, right? But North Korea is not profitable. So we'll let you starve all your people, right? As long as you be quiet. But now that you're threatening to blow up people, now we have to intervene. And
totally different conversation.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, it's gigantic children running amok. And you're like, what are you guys doing? Why? Why? This makes no sense. This makes no sense. And then you have people
you're for Assange leaking things.
Yeah, I don't care if it pisses Trump off or not. He doesn't hack people. He gets information.
I don't even know if it totally pisses Trump off.
Well, he likes Assange, but Sessions and some others do not like leakers, and I understand not liking leaks.
Well, of course, Trump wouldn't like leakers now.
Right. Nobody likes a leaker now. Like, all the Democrats loved it when he was leaking all that stuff, and Edward Snowden about George Bush. He's our hero, and now he's the worst. And it's like, no, you have to be consistent, right? Like, I can say, well, Well,
the way I look at it, Assange is no different than the New York Times, Washington Post, getting these confirmed.
These unconfirmed, like, yeah, that's exactly.
But the problem is that the proof's in the pudding, and Assange has legit stuff.
Assange is right. We're New York Times and CNN.
They don't give you actually anything.
It says at the bottom, it's unconfirmed by a reliable source, but we can't give you his name, and basically we're making shit up. Assange doesn't make shit up. 100%.
Oh no, because he throws the files out there.
10 years. 100% perfect track record. What he's telling you is truth, whether you want to believe it or not. It's truth. And I know the big argument was, well, how come they only leaked it about Podesta and Hillary during the election, and he's a jerk? And it's like, well, because he flat out told you, I didn't have anything on Trump. Trump tells you to your face, I don't email. He said, I don't email.
He tweets.
I'll tweet. I don't email. I think it's a waste of time. I don't do it. So someone's gonna have to raid his office like Nixon style. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they tried.
And then you're getting some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll catch your ass. But that's what I'm saying. He flat out said, I don't have anything. And Trump flat out said multiple times, I don't email. So I don't know where you're going to go with that. I'm sure there's dirt out there. I'm sure. Did you also see...
He grabs pussy.
No,
they leaked that.
Only if they like it, right? Only if, and they let you. That was the end of that comment. And they let you, right? So they had... You made me lose my thought. Thanks a lot.
I apologize.
Well, whatever. So anyways, free speech should always be supported, even if it's shitty free speech.
I agree.
And there's no such thing as hate speech. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
I'm glad you said that, because we're going to dive into some of that. No, I'm kidding. All right, well, I mean, basically that's the quick sum of it. I'm sure we're going to be doing a Stefan Molyneux-esque type truth about Berkeley, because I started looking up their history, and there's just so much material to sift through that I'll probably end up doing a little 30 minute to an hour long thing just on their history, because it's actually a fascinating history, and they do have a long lineage of activism and different things, and for the most part it's been true good work. You know, you might not agree with it, but it was at least done in the right way. The riots probably was not, but we'll cover all that on a later basis. And once again, you know, tell me what you think. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, and leave comments. I'd like to talk about this free speech and where you stand with it. Signing out.